Welcome, hello everyone from the Valley of the Sun, where it's still what other people who are not desert dwellers would say is very hot. I guess it is hot, but that's okay because our best weather is in the near future. But anyway, wherever you are, whatever weather you have today, hello from my home to yours, or wherever you're at, if you're at work, whatever. Really glad to have you back today for my 28th day of my 30-day live. That's nuts. That's crazy. This has gone so fast. I've really enjoyed it. Learned a lot about myself as I'm doing this. I have learned that I am still a better writer than I am a speaker, especially off the cuff, like I have been doing. I don't have a script that I'm following or anything else. It's just what you see is what you get. But I've been practicing, and my hope is that I will continue to get better and get rid of all those. Because when you're writing, you can edit, right? So you can take out all the ums. Whereas when I'm talking, they're just there all the time. Anyway, glad to have you here and to be with you again today, all of you. Reminder, this is a safe space. I do not tolerate victim blaming in any way, shape, or form. I don't tolerate it on my page. I say that like it is true. It is a line in cement. I don't tolerate it. But when it does happen, my first response is to educate someone because maybe they don't know what they're doing. A lot of people don't realize that they're victim blaming. So we educate first, try to. After that, if there is a decision on their part to continue to victim blame, I'm like, no, okay, here's my wall. No, can't come in, can't cross it. And that's how I feel about all of you here. I want this to be a safe place because we all have tender places within us, right, when we're telling our stories. And so I want this to be a place that those can come out and we can talk about them without risking having somebody, make us feel like shit about them. There's already enough of that in society, so we don't want that here. And speaking of victim blaming, something that I have found is really useful. I've gotten to this place that I just want to share for all of you who have, maybe you just started telling your story, or maybe you're just, starting, and when I say story, I mean truth. I don't mean a fairy tale. I mean your truth. When you start speaking your truth and telling about your experience, that might just be to friends and family members, or it might be on social media, wherever it is. Maybe you'll write a book. I did. You can. I'm 51 and I wrote a book. So you can do it. You can do that. So something that I have found really just, I would say recently I'm getting more and more comfortable with it, with people who are victim blamers is, and victim blamers can be anything from somebody, doubting you when you share your story, when you trust somebody and you go to share your story and their response is, has some doubt in it, or they stick up for the other person in some way, even in a small way. That's a victim blamer. Or we got those fence sitters who are, or maybe they excuse the one who hurt you, right? So these are all victim blamers. So again, my first choice is to educate and just to point out the same way I do when well-meaning gentlemen tell me to smile, right? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're well-meaning, but I don't like it. I don't know any woman, I've never met a woman who does like it. Just for, just here's a public service message for all you well-meaning men out there. Never telling, no, Telling a woman to smile is never a good idea. So first response is, I'm going to educate you. I will smile when I do it, and I will, you know, be civil and show you respect. But if you don't get the message, then I make a statement that, you know what, I have decided that I'm not going to partake in this victim blaming discussion. So have a good day. Ciao. And then you just go away. You just turn, walk away, or stop talking. Let's just make it that easy, right? If you make it that easy, then it's much easier to do. Then we're not afraid to stand up for ourselves and do it. Hey, everybody. Hey, Vincent Bronson. That's my high school buddy. You know, I have to tell you, we were talking about, was that yesterday? I was talking about things to do when you're healing that will help you along. And just seeing Vince on there reminds me that one of the most important things of my healing is that because I disappeared, so there was high school. Here's me in high school. All sorts of fun there, super fun. And then right out of high school, into abusive relationship number 1. And right out of that, like crossing over into, without a break, without a breath, into abusive relationship number 2. So a couple of decades went by there where all of high school, my high school peeps, even my besties, no, they were pushed out by the darkness. I had little to no contact with anybody. So when I came out, when I escaped solitary confinement, it was super awesome to get back in touch with all my high school friends who remembered what a great gal I was and how much fun I was. I needed them to remind me because I didn't know how to have fun anymore. Anyway, that was from yesterday, but it's a good tip. All right. What I want to talk about today, and tomorrow is the 29th day. Friday should be the 30th day. But as I have been telling you the last couple of days, I'll be traveling all day to Reno. It's not super far away, but it's just taken me forever to travel there. Anyway, long story. And so I'm going to, Saturday, I'm going to do my 30th Facebook Live. And at that point, I will let you know who won a signed copy of my book. And we'll chat. I don't know about what. Maybe what's coming next. I don't know. But I'll be in Reno. And I would love if any of you are in the neighborhood to be there with me and to go. This would be a good time. I'll just put in the event schedule right now. Because first it's Reno, and then later in October, I believe it is Austin, Texas. I don't think I've ever been there. And then after that is San Antonio. It's weird for me to say Antonio because my son's name is Antonio, and I always say Antonio. So San Antonio. That's what I'm going to put. Okay. Here's the Eventbrite if any of you want to see where else I will be. I would love to see you in person. So today I wanted to talk about the future. Right? So you're doing all this healing and recovering, you're putting all this work in, you've gone through all this pain, and the one thing that you want to do, that's my dog's Squeaky toy. They only have one Squeaky toy out of their 50,000 toys. My house looks like it did when I used to have toddlers, when all the toys were all over. Anyway, I spoil my dogs. I gotta spoil them. Okay. So we want to talk about the future because after all this work that you've done or are doing now, the last thing you want to do is get into another relationship or risk getting into another relationship with another narcissist. Okay? Of course, this would be our fear while we're right in the middle of healing and recovery because we don't yet have a frame of reference for what our future can look like because we've been beaten down emotionally. so long and so much that we're not feeling super great about ourselves or about our future, and we may be doubting. We may not have much self-worth or self-esteem, and we may be doubting if we even made the right decision to leave. So it's hard to even think about it, you know, what a healthy relationship would look like in the future. Now, I want to remind everybody again, this is what I said yesterday, and it's not, I can understand why there be some resistance to it, but for true recovery and healing, you've got to go through this single. You've got to be single while you're doing this. You cannot be dipping your toe in the dating waters while you are recovering and healing, okay? This is like you just got into an awful car wreck and you just woke up from the coma that you've been in, right? So you're not going to pick up the phone and schedule dance lessons. You're not ready. You're just not ready. Not only that, but when you're in the, especially the beginning stages, and if you are, let me simplify this for you. If you have any emotional attachment to the one who hurt you, maybe you still love them, maybe you're just pissed as all hell and you're raging against them. If there are unresolved issues where, let's say you're in a toxic divorce situation with narcissists, and oh God, if you are, my heart goes out to you because I know it's just hell. No, I think hell would be easier than divorcing a narcissist. So when you're in these very traumatic positions, you can't think straight. You can't think straight because you've been so manipulated and conditioned and brainwashed by the narcissist that if there's still that part, if there are still some strings attached by the puppet master, right? He was the puppet master before. And if you even have like one string that he's still pulling, right? You do not have the, and I'm speaking to my younger self a few years ago, I would give the same advice. You do not have the wherewithal to choose a healthy mate. You just don't. So you need to stay single until you figure this out, until you come to a place where here you are in the darkness, recovery and healing process, however long that is. And I don't mean in the beginning as 2 weeks. I mean, it could be 6 months, it could be a year. It could be 2 years when you're so you got darkness, then you got sort of 1 foot still in the darkness and 1 foot headed toward the light. And then when you're in the light, right? You're not in the cocoon anymore. You're out. You're the butterfly. You're strong. You're empowered. That's when you're going to be ready to open that door for real love to find you. Because when we're in the tender place, and when we're in that still have a foot in the darkness, we still don't know the difference between real love and abuse disguised as love. We still don't know that because we have normalized the abuse that happened to us, right? We've normalized it. So and I'm giving all this that I say, these tips that I'm giving, these are the things that are going to prevent you in the future from, you won't even have to be worried about it, because there's no way in hell that if you're in this strong place, there's no way in hell you're going to get into another relationship with a narcissist. You're going to see one coming a mile away, first of all, whereas when we're in the tender place, we can't see them. We can't see them for who they are. So one of the things that we have to do, I've spoken on this a lot as far as looking back at the past, seeing what you've normalized, seeing what you've made okay, the excuses you've made, I'll give you an example. When I looked back, of course I had to look back at all the red flags, starting from the beginning. Then I had to ask myself, why didn't I pay attention to those red flags? Why did I feel so little of myself? Why did I believe I was worth so little that I would allow another human being to treat me like this? You have to answer that question first. You have to know that answer before you can go into the next relationship, because you don't want to risk getting in with another. I did it from first marriage to second marriage, right? It was like just it's just like diving into it without thought, with my eyes squeezed shut, you know. And then what happened? Then I was in another an abusive marriage for 16 years of my life. You don't want to do that anymore. I don't know how old you are, but I don't care how old you are, because it doesn't matter. You've been through enough. You certainly don't want to get involved with another narcissist. So these are things that you have to look at first, because the more, every time that you look at your past and you face a hard truth and you answer that question, no matter how hard it is, and you're going through the pain and you're feeling the pain and you're not avoiding the pain, you're just going through it, right? Every time you do that, you're empowering yourself. Every single step like that, you're empowering yourself. You want to get to the place where you are fully empowered. And by the way, and I'll talk about that sort of in a bit, when you get to that place, you're going to be amazed at how everything changes, like your outlook changes. So oftentimes your beliefs around love and what that is changes, or what you thought your needs were in the past, or what your needs were in the past have now changed. It's crazy. Yes, Vina, learn to take care of yourself and set boundaries before going back out there. Yes, absolutely. So that's why, again, I talked about this before, is that when you're looking back, remember, you didn't attract the narcissist. You didn't do anything wrong in a previous life. There's nothing inherently wrong with you that you attracted a narcissist. I don't believe that. I think that's bullshit. And I do think that's victim blaming, because it's saying somehow, you know, if I attracted him, then there's something really wrong with me, right? Like, what am I doing wrong? So you didn't attract them, but you did have a door open for a narcissist to walk in. And one of those doors that you had open, and I'm speaking for myself too. It's just like I'm talking to myself when I'm saying these things. One of the doors that you have, if you get into an abusive relationship with a narcissist and you stay longer than a day or a week, once you figure out who they are and you stay longer than that, however long that is, I was there 16 years, however long you stay, that shows that open door shows that you don't have boundaries for yourself. I didn't have any boundaries. I didn't even know what a boundary was, except for like when you cross state lines. I know that's a boundary. Colorado River is a boundary. So these open doors, these are the doors that you want to learn how to close. And once you learn how to close those, then you don't even have to worry about the next relationship in the future. You don't even have to worry about it. Okay. When you're in this place of healing and recovery, and the reason why it's so important not to date, I know it's going to be hard. Listen, especially when we first come out, I'll tell you, well, I told you yesterday, right? I didn't give you the details, but here's what happened with me after. So my world came crashing down. And when I left, it was like I was released from solitary confinement. Okay, so those first few months, I went a little crazy. Here's why. And if you did this, don't don't beat yourself up. There's nothing wrong with this. After you've been like hurting for so long at the hands of someone you love, it makes all the sense in the world that you would just be like you get out of solitary confinement, right? You're like, I'm going for it. Like, I want to eat this. I want to do this. I want all of it, right? Because you feel like you've missed out. And all of a sudden, life feels a little bit better now. So that's what I did. I went a little crazy when I first, nothing that it was against my character or my integrity that was very important to me. Nothing that hurt my kids, which was also very important. So nothing that would have nothing that would be damaging. It's understandable if you do that, right? You just go out, go crazy. But during the recovery and healing process, you just want to get into a place where it's just all about you, right? You go into the cocoon and it's all about you. It's going to be super, super tempting, especially if you come across, now I'm going to change the pronouns if you feel like it, okay? But I'm going to talk to women, and so I'm going to use he, but of course, change the pronoun if, whatever, if that doesn't suit you, cool. It's all the same. Narcissists are all over the place. They're not limited to men. So it can be really tempting when you're hurting so much, especially, let's just be honest here, okay? As women, when we come out of and we've been hurt so badly by somebody that we invested in and loved, and then we find out we've been tricked and manipulated and gaslighted and all that lovely shit, that is a whopper on our self-esteem. I mean, our self-worth was already low, right? But this kind of just drops it through the floor, okay? For example, when I first left, after discovering that the catalyst was uncovering his double life, which included, and I was in my mid-40s at the time, and I wasn't looking too good because I was sick all the time, and I was, being in an emotionally abusive relationship. It's not good for your physical look, right? It's not a good look on us. So I was in my mid-40s, not feeling great about really anything in my life at that point. Mom and all that includes. Uncovered this double life of this man that I had invested everything in and thought he was this person. I thought he was this guy. And I find out he's this guy, which included him grooming, just like a sexual predator would, grooming young girls, exploiting the fact that they were immigrants who could not stay in the country without help, you know what I mean? Exploiting the situation, grooming young girls. They were legal, so let's not, have a cow. They were legal. Not that makes it any less disgusting. So discovering this in the position that I was, can you imagine? All you women out there, I'm 51, so anybody in my near, all of you women know what it's like out there when this person that you discover is not this man that you thought, right? And then all of a sudden you're looking at your so-called, at the time, this isn't of course how I think now, this competition, right? Who is 20, kind of looks like, I was like, yeah, when I was 20, I was hot too. Yet not so much when I was in my mid-40s. And so that whole, wow, that was a full frontal attack on my senses. how did I deal with that? With not only dealing with the emotional just devastation that I felt because of his, not treating me very well, but then to discover that there is a younger model in the picture, that like super younger model. So this was a huge blow, which I think explains why, when I first escaped, that I went a little crazy, because there are good guys out there, right? And I knew a couple of them, and it was the first time I had been treated nice, and I had been, these are just friends I'm talking about, but it was understandable. So it is understandable if that's what any of you have done. Please don't beat yourself up over it. Just speaking woman to woman, when you've been treated like shit for a super long time by a man, and then another man comes in and is just treating you with respect, and those basic things that we all deserve, just like respect, compassion, just being kind. Kindness that was really cool, to be treated kindly by a man. I will tell you that this is the place, this is the emotional place I was in. This is how bad it was. Someone asked me, a man had asked me, this is shortly at the beginning of my healing journey, and it had asked me, so what are you looking for? When I say beginning, I don't mean like 2 weeks, right? We were clear on that. I mean like a year out, whatever it is. So what are you looking for in a man? You know what my answer was? I just want a man who doesn't want to hurt me on purpose. That was my answer. That's all I wanted. That was my only condition. Like, that's the terrible place that I was in. That is the low, low, low place I was in. I just wanted a guy who didn't want to hurt me on purpose. That's it. Obviously, when I was in that place, I would not have been a good judge of character for another guy coming in to my life, which is why I made the decision. A lot of that was also based on my kids, because my kids were also hurting and healing, and I didn't want to bring in that element. I didn't think it was fair to them, because they were going through their own stuff, right? And also they had to deal with the new girlfriend who was the age of their older brother. So they already had shit to deal with. So that was another reason that I thought, nope, there's no man breaching this house, none. But obviously when we're in that place, right? So I was doubting everything about myself, about facing that, how could I compete with a 20-year-old girl? Which, can I just add in there for all of you women whose narcissist has gone to much younger models, which is very typical of narcissists. Wait till they're like 70. Those girls are gonna, but can I just say something about how I shifted my way of thinking, because I started out thinking, how am I ever going to compete with that? Like, I was making it about her. And then I got to the point where I was like, I shifted it to him, right? It wasn't about her. It was about him. And I was like, God bless you, because if there was a competition, I won. I won. Hands down, I won. Absolutely, I won. Because guess what? I'm not with him. She is. Sorry. Gross. Anyway, I just had to interject that. When we're in these places, right? When we're in these emotionally tender, low places, feeling like shit about ourselves, not sure of the future, normalizing past abuse, or not quite there yet, still sort of living with illusions and stuff like that. This is the worst place we could be in to open the door for a new relationship to start, or to just date. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. Okay, we're clear on that. One of the things I did just so I remember, because this is important stuff. One of the things, when you get to the point, who knows how long, I can't tell you how long, everybody's healing journey is different. You will know, because you won't be in a place of, when you're ready to test the waters and open a door, when you're feeling super strong and empowered. That doesn't mean you're not still dealing with bullshit from a narcissist, because they tend to be like, I swear, like when the end of the world comes, it's going to be narcissists and roaches and Twinkies that survive, I think. So that nothing may have gone away. If you have kids with them, you still have to deal with it, whatever else. But you're going to be in a stronger place where you can handle it, where it's not crushing you every single day, and it's not like a big, huge wave that just, you know, anytime that he comes in and does something, it's not going to knock you out for a couple of days. So when you're feeling good, you're feeling ready, and you've done all the work, like there's no stone unturned. If you think that, I've kind of been avoiding this, or looking back at maybe my relationship with my father or mother or whatever, or my first boyfriend, or, you know, if there's, you need to unturn all those stones. You need to turn them all over and see what's underneath, because all of this is going to empower you, because you're learning things about yourself, right? You're learning why. This is what I did. I looked back and I learned, why did I get into that first relationship, abusive relationship, marriage? Why did I go from that right into my second one? Why did I stay? Why did I put up with it? These are not victim blaming questions, because I'm asking them myself. I'm asking them to myself, right? I'm asking not for the purpose of, there's something wrong with me because I stayed that long, but I need to know, why did I stay that long? Because, and one of the things I uncovered was that I didn't have any self-worth, right? And I had learned that from a long time before. I didn't have any boundaries. I didn't think of myself as anything worthy of being treated just decently. So this is what I normalize. So when you get to a place where you're on top of all of that, and you know all that, you have all the answers to all your questions, and you've been through hell and survived and came out, right? You've been in that, you put yourself in that cocoon, you've done the work, and you're ready. You want to open that door and test the waters. First thing I'm going to tell you is that the chances that you're going to have an open door for a narcissist to walk in at that point, after you've done all the work, is slim to none. For example, in my case, I can spot a narcissist a mile away. It doesn't matter. They don't even come knocking on my door, right? Narcissists go in open doors of people who will welcome them into those, right? My doors are steel shut. No, not coming in. You will get to that place because you will know yourself so well. How do you, let's say that, because I'm not saying, I'm not saying that I've never been approached by a narcissist or by an asshole, but it was very, very quick. It was super, super quick. Because now I don't have red flags anymore, for example, right? In the beginning, with both marriages, I've said this often, I had enough red flags to supply a communist parade. I was keeping them in, in warehouses. I had so many. Nowadays, I don't have red flags. I have a deal breaker. When people show me who they are, I believe them the first time. So if somebody lies to me, if somebody is manipulating me, if somebody's tricking me, if somebody's coming at me like a freight train of love. That's that love bombing stuff going on. I'm like, no, thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Just reading the comments. This is a place that you will get to, right? But if you're in the tender place and you're still healing and recovering, then you do still have doors open for that to come in. One of the most important things that you have to do, one of the most empowering things you can do, is to understand how you normalize someone else's behavior and how you normalize their abusive view. Whether that includes if they were verbally abusive, if they cheated on you consistently, like, or they did anything that hurt you consistently, with even if they apologized but they still did it again, right? If they put you down, if they all those things that I talked about on the day that we talked about real love, what real love looks like with a healthy person compared to abuse disguised as love. So figuring out, what did you normalize? What did you say, well, I can put up with this, right? I used to be the queen of excuses. I would say, let's say he did something that hurt me, but the next day, I don't know, he was great. He was the guy that I remembered when I first met, right? So I'd be like, well, I know he was absolutely awful and horrible and I felt like shit the day before, but today he's being nice, right? So that's normalizing. So you got to figure that out. The other thing is to, make sure that that door is closed, is know what your boundaries are. Know what your boundaries are. Don't be like, don't draw them in the sand that the wave can come in and wash it out. No, you need those suckers in cement. You need to know exactly what you deserve and what you don't deserve, what you're willing to put up with and what you're not willing to put up with. This is going to help you when, let's say you're out having some fun, you decide, okay, I'm ready to dip my toe in the waters, and you're approached, right? And you have that intuition, you have that girl that you shut up for so long, right? That you weren't listening to, that girl within who knows you better than anybody and who you can trust. And she's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And no, right? You'll get to that place where you're not going to doubt your own gut instinct anymore just because some guy is all that. And I want to tell you that here's one of the biggest lessons that I learned, is that love, because narcissists get us in by love bombings, right? Moving the relationship along super quickly so that by the time their mask falls off, we're already hook, line, and sinker. We're done. We're in. We're attached. We're sunk in love with them. Love doesn't do this. Real love doesn't do this. I'm not saying that you can't have feelings for somebody in the beginning, but love doesn't move that quickly. Love is patient. It doesn't, again, I'm talking about the difference between love and love bombing, what a narcissist does, which is actually not love. They need to call it something else, like fake love bombing, because it's not love. It doesn't move that fast. I shared with you that I hadn't even started dating him when he made a mixtape for me and said I needed to listen to it on my way home. And it was Bryan Adams' Have You Ever Loved a Woman? And in it says, you can see her unborn children in your eyes. Okay, we hadn't even started dating yet. That's a huge fucking red flag. People, women, that's a huge red flag. Here's the thing, at the time, because I was so desperate and I had, for affection, for love, what I thought was love, because I was starving for it, because I had just come out of my first abusive marriage, and before that my father was emotionally abusive and I didn't get any love from him, right, or validation or anything else. So I was starving, and it made sense for me at the time to think, oh my God, here's the man of my dreams who's like, he already knows he loves me and that he wants to have my babies. He wants me to have his babies, whatever. Yeah, okay, no. This is not love. This is not love. This is crazy. This is narcissist, right? So looking at things like that, that's why when you look at your past and figuring that out, that way when it comes again, if it were to come again into your life, you'd be able to spot it like that, right? You can also test it. Let's say that, you know, you're not sure about this new relationship or this new guy you start seeing or you're interested in or whatever else. And then just as long as you go with your gut instinct, and as long as you pay attention to red flags and don't ignore the red flags, if there's a red flag, let's say he's in another relationship, don't even. Or if he just got out, or here's another one, if he's talking about how all his exes are crazy bitch. She was. No. That's a huge red flag. Run. Okay, here's the other thing about finding real love after being, you know, I've always said that what a narcissist does is reach in, yank out your heart, and eat it in front of you. So after you've had that experience, of course, it's natural that you're going to have trepidation about going into another relationship. But when you're ready, you will arrive at a place, and this is also how you know that you're ready. You will arrive at a place where you will no longer need somebody to fill holes in you, okay? That's another way we have open doors with abusive people, with narcissists. We have open doors because we have holes in us. Like I just told you, one of my holes was that I needed affection, I needed love. I hadn't gotten any, I was starving, right? So that was a hole I had, and he filled it. So you don't want somebody else to fill you, to complete you, right? That was a terrible, in the Jerry Maguire movie when he says, you complete me, that was a horrible example to give women about relationships. No. You are whole just as you are, especially if you have gone through this healing and recovering, and you have been through it and felt it and got dirty with your pain and just, you know, came out a shining warrior out of it. You do not need anybody to complete you. You're complete. You're whole. You're a whole person. If you're not a whole person and you don't feel complete, don't go looking for anybody else to fill it. You need to do that yourself, right? And this leads me to how you'll be amazed at whatever stage you're at right now. I don't know. I wish I could talk to each of you individually. So I'll just give my example. But you're going to reach a stage where you're completely claimed your space in the light. Completely. You are emotionally detached from your past. You are emotionally free of your past. That doesn't mean today that you still don't deal with certain things, but you're strong and you're a survivor, thriver, overcomer, and you can deal with anything that comes your way because you got it, you own it. You're like feet planted in claiming your space in the light, and there's nobody ever going to drag you back to the darkness again. When you're in that place, you're going to be a little amazed at how your thinking changes about love, about expectations, because that's what happens when we become fully empowered, right? We're like, damn, look at all this. Like, what? So my rules changed. My expectations changed of other people. Really, my whole way of thinking changed compared to my 20-year-old self when I was like, Maris, I'm going to get married, then I have babies, and then it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, because it's not about me. It's just about getting married and having babies and about my husband. Yeah, it was all that. Finding the soulmate. That was, got to find my soulmate, and I'm going to be together forever, and we're going to go through life happily. And yeah, that's changed a little bit in a good way, in a good way. So I would love to, if you, I don't know if you can put in comments here but I would love to hear from those of you that that are fully in the light of how you can send me a private message. I'm just really curious how your beliefs about love and relationships change. Mine changed drastically. All in a good way. Again, because you get to a place where you're so empowered that, yeah, what can I say? Like I said, I'm the winner here. There was no competition, none. Yeah, they're all still over there, right? I mean, look, look at this, people. I'm 51. Okay. Because here's what narcissists do. This is what happened to me for the majority of my adult life, right? This is a new phenomenon, this all owning who I am, loving who I am, proud of the woman I've become. But the majority of my adult life was spent with narcissists, with men who continually and consistently let me know that I wasn't worth much. I didn't have much value other than what I could give to them, what I could do for them, right? I wasn't important enough to be listened to, certainly not to be heard, all of that. So coming into a place where, and I paid my dues going through the healing process, there's no stone I left unturned, not one. And it was painful, but I tell you what, it was so worth it. Here is where I am. This is the place. So for all of you who are in this place, I would really, I'm so curious as to how your views change. I could just write a book about that, because all my views have changed about love, about relationships, all for it to benefit me, and that, it makes me happy. I'm super, super happy exactly where I'm at right now. Okay. Here's another, let me just, before I finish today, here's another tip. The biggest one, if you're looking at new relationships, like I said, a big one is to remember that squeaky toy, one of the biggest ones to remember is that you're already whole. You don't need anybody to complete you. Another one is, and I know this goes against all of our Hollywood movies. Oh my God, Bandy, you gotta stop. Sorry. Come here, girl. Okay, good. See, it's a squeaky toy. Okay. So the other one that you have to remember is, now she's gonna find the squeaky again. And again, this is gonna go against Hollywood movies. This is gonna go against fairy tales, right? Is that you don't want to find a man, and change pronouns if you want, change it to woman. You don't want to find a man who can't live without you. I know it's romantic when someone says, I can't live without you. I'd kill myself if I ever lost you, right? I will tell you that was a huge red flag in my early on. That was a huge red flag when he he threatened to jump out of a window because I was trying to break up with him. This is in the early stages. At the time, I mean, looking back, I know, that's just what narcissists do. They make those threats. But it got me to stick around because I was like, whoa, this guy is going to kill himself if I break up with him. This is huge, huge red flag for abuse. Huge. So even though it may sound romantic when someone says, I cannot live without you, you don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that. You don't want that sort of codependency and responsibility. What you want, and this is way better, and this goes into that you don't need anybody to complete you. You're already whole. You want to find somebody who's whole. Somebody who's not whole is going to say something like that to you. I can't live without you. I die without you. Okay? That's somebody who's not whole. You want to find a man, a woman. You want to find a man who can live without you, but doesn't want to. Right? He can, but he doesn't want to. He wants to share time with you. And likewise for you, right? You're not gonna end your life for somebody else. You're not gonna die if you're not with somebody. But you can choose to, that's your preference, is to be with them. That's how special you are to get to that place. You need to get to that place because you are all worthy and deserving of a whole and healthy relationship. And if you don't have those two aspects for it, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's manipulative, right? You don't need anybody to complete you. Okay. Again, going back to trust that girl. You're still that girl. Trust that girl. She will not steer you wrong. She's got all your answers. And remember that even though it's tempting when you're in the tender place of your healing, it might be tempting to go into the arms of someone who's nice to you, who's kinder than you've ever been, who treats you better than you've ever been treated. It may be tempting, but you have to remember that that person can't fix you. You got to do the work yourself. And so, and you're not whole yet, so you shouldn't be dating. No, it sucks, but you'll thank me for it later. I promise. Okay, I wanted to say that for tomorrow, because tomorrow, then again, Friday won't be here, Saturday will, but for tomorrow, I would love, and I'll post this on my Facebook page too, I would just love to answer your questions. Like, we've had 28 days at this point of topics all related to narcissism and narcissistic abuse and what it is to recover and heal and how to get over abusive ex for good and on and on and on and on. So, because I know that, when I'm talking, I miss questions, I miss comments. I go back afterwards and I look through them. But so tomorrow I would love to answer your questions, whatever it is. Ask me anything. I may not know the answer. If I don't, I'll tell you. But other than that, I always tell the truth. Always. I can't lie anyway because I start giggling or I make a funny face. That's why I can't play poker either. Unless it's with a machine, which I might do when I go to Reno on Saturday. I'm getting off track. Okay. All of you who are on the journey right now, one foot in the darkness, possibly making your way to the light, I'm here for you. If you want to chat with me privately, because I know anonymity is a case for a lot of you. Trust me, I've been there, where you can't even like something because he's watching, right? I'm here for you. I will put in we can chat on the phone. I'm going to put in my schedule into the comments. Whenever, I'm here for you. Let's chat. Let's get you through this, right? We want you to move through it. We want to fast track your healing and recovery. yes, it takes work and it takes time and all of that, but it doesn't have to take the time that it took me, right? Because I didn't have anybody. So let's get you moving, because you need to, you know, that great life that you've always dreamed of is waiting for you. That real love, not abuse disguised love, is waiting for you. So let's chat. I would love that. Okay. And I already put in the event schedule for, I'll be in Reno this Saturday. I would love to see you. And as for tomorrow, I hope that you'll have some juicy questions. Nothing's off the table, people. Like, I think you've learned by now that I don't hide anything. I don't sugarcoat anything. Ask me, I'll tell you. Even if it's embarrassing to me, which probably it won't be, because I don't get embarrassed by my past anymore, because, you know, why should I? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do that. I'm not a pervert. I'm not a narcissist. So ask me anything. I'm here for you. All right, I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for being here. I love talking to you. I still wish I could see your faces somewhere. It's this stupid green light that I have to stare into. Okay, much love to all of you. Strength and hope to those of you who are feeling weak and hopeless. I will see you all tomorrow, hopefully with lots of good, juicy questions. Okay, bye.